The dilapidated remains of a house once owned by Samuel Ball, a freed slave who inexplicably became wealthy, can be found on Lot 25 of the enigmatic Oak Island in Nova Scotia. Ball's story, which is linked to rumors of British treasure that was concealed in the 18th century, is a fascinating aspect of the island's ongoing mystery. Could the mysteries of Oak Island's fabled treasure be revealed by his ties to the British Navy and the artifacts discovered on his property? Narrator. Lot 25 is a remote 4-acre property on Oak Island, tucked away in these woods. The remains of a collapsing foundation rest upon it. There once was a house on this foundation. A man who might have been the key to the longest-running treasure hunt in history built the house from the ground up. Samuel Ball was his name. Gary. Charles, what area are we in right now? Lot 24 would be this. Is that a coin? Gary. It's a coin, indeed. George is a king. Narrator. Gary Drayton, a metal detector specialist, and Charles Barkhouse, an Oak Island historian, were investigating Lot 24, formerly owned by Samuel Ball, in 2016. Gary. Whoa! Narrator. Looking for hints that could lead to the solution of the Oak Island treasure hunt. It's a button, Gary. It's an elegant button. Narrator. Numerous findings during their search of the property indicated that the British military had established encampments on the island in the 18th century, albeit some years before Samuel Ball's arrival. Gary. Are you aware of that? Is that lead, Charles? This is the kind of item that a British soldier would carry. This is an ingot of lead used to make musket balls. Charles. Whoa! We must now begin assembling the pieces. We have this, a button, and some coins. Gary. This might be a camp of some sort. Charles. You know, Fred Nolan's theory sort of fits with the encampment part you're discussing. Narrator. Following the sacking of Havana in 1762, he thought this was a British military operation. Narrator. Is it possible that Samuel Ball was aware that there was a valuable treasure deposit on the island because of his numerous connections to the British military, and that more than one could exist? Narrator. According to Fred Nolan, it was a part of the massive gold and silver loot that the British had taken from Spain during the 7 Years' War, which took place between 1756 and 1763. Narrator. King Charles III of Spain consented to back France in the war in 1761. As a result, Britain promptly declared war on Spain, sparking one of the 7 Years' War's most notorious engagements. The summer of 1762, British conquest of the Spanish colony of Havana. Randall. An enormous treasure was indeed taken. In Havana, enormous quantities of gold and silver were kept in storage. Based on the records, the estimates of what was there have varied from 2 or 3 billion to 10 billion, you know. However, in today's currency, the total amount of gold and silver that was brought back to Britain is roughly $800 million. Randall. Thus, there is a significant disparity. Gold and silver valued at least a few billion dollars are missing. Rebecca. Following their successful siege of Havana, the British set sail for Halifax along the North American coast. They may have offloaded some of their goods there, possibly to Oak Island, before continuing on their way back to Britain to deliver them to the British Treasury. Randall. The whereabouts of all that gold and silver are unknown. However, it had to go somewhere, so why not Oak Island? Narrator. Several treasure seekers, including the most recent group headed by brothers Rick and Marty Lagina, are scouring the island. Gary. Be aware! Narrator. Have searched for proof to support Fred Nolan's hypothesis that the island was home to numerous hidden treasure caches. Narrator. And in 2015, the New England Antiquities Association's Vice President, Terry DeVoe, received an invitation to inspect Lot 6, one of Samuel Ball's former properties. Terry D. We were removing a lot of brush and moving lines back and forth with the metal detector. I noticed this protruding point. Terry D. And I emerged and unearthed it. Terry D. This kind of greywacke, which is prevalent in this region of Nova Scotia, does tend to break naturally. This one is quite intriguing because it appears to have an additional component. Terry D. This is added to make a point, almost like a cast of some sort. It doesn't appear typical. Gary. This stone over here, what about it? Terry D. That one? Gary. Certainly. Terry D. Its surface is flat as well. Terry D. Well, if it was utilized as the back wall or as a cover over here, then... Terry D. Perhaps someone came here and used this to bury treasure or something valuable because someone later disassembled it to see what was inside. Narrator. Could it be that Lot 6's hidden treasure was unearthed a long time ago? If so, might that provide yet another hint as to where Samuel Ball's enigmatic wealth came from? Is it also connected to a British military operation in the 18th century that concealed valuables throughout Oak Island? Todd. It's possible that Samuel Ball encountered British soldiers who had participated in the capture of Havana during the American Revolution. They told him about the riches on Oak Island, so he went there. Doug. Samuel Ball could have undoubtedly discovered one of the numerous depositions of treasure if Fred Nolan is correct in his assessment. Narrator. The team discovered something unexpected as they dug deeper beneath the Samuel Ball homestead. What the fuck? Charles. What does he possess? Laird. Take a look. Gary, there is a position available. Gary. Could you tell me? As narrow as a tunnel? Laughs. Indeed. Charles. Unquestionably a space. Gary. A gap? Under these stones. Clicks of the camera shutter. Laird. It is the anomaly because it precisely matches it. Rick. It's an epiphany if this turns out to be a tunnel. Yes. Laird. We discovered a stone box drain that emerged from the southeast corner of the cellar during our excavations at the Ball site. It ran into a low area and was, 4 feet deep. What caused it and why it was there is the main mystery. Rick. The discovery of the so-called drain at the foundation's base, after all, makes the foundation even more intriguing. What else is being concealed? Marty. Yes, just go very slowly. Rick. Wow, isn't that incredibly well built? Laird. Indeed. We're looking at a pretty flat ceiling there. Derek. Gorgeous. Yes. Narrator. After putting in a tiny camera, Rick, Marty, and the group noticed that the enigmatic tunnel or drain appeared to be empty, which made them question why it was built and what it might have once held. It would be discovered during later homestead investigations that Samuel Ball had also built several outbuildings throughout his property. Not only does Samuel Ball own a lot of property, but he also cleared a lot of it, which is one of the most confusing things about him. He probably had 7 acres, which is a lot more than he would have needed to support his small family. This suggests that he may have had a side business from which he was earning money. Narrator. A supplemental enterprise? If so, however, with whom and why might Samuel Ball have been interacting? Hey, take a look at this, Alex. It has... Indeed. A bit green, Alex said. Laird. Indeed. This does appear to be old. Its edges are a little off. Narrator. 5 years after the team started discovering artifacts on Samuel Ball's land, a clue to a potential solution was discovered in 2020 during an examination of loot taken from his homestead. Alex. 3 anchors are present. They are on the left and right, and a large one is in the center, down the side. Rick. You're right. Alex. The other one is visible on the left. Gary. That is a button for a British Navy jacket. Alex. But what time frame is this? From 1804 to 1825, Laird, firmly during the Ball time. Narrator. Laird identified the button as a gold-gilded master and commander officer's button from the British Royal Navy by using a computer tomography scanner. Laird. The Royal Navy Master and Commander's button was, in my opinion, the most unexpected artifact, and the person who loaded the Royal Navy ships would have been in that role. It is not something that one would simply possess. After discovering the money pit, which I felt was quite important, it, in my opinion, connected Samuel Ball and the Royal Navy. Marty. All right, the most likely explanation is that he was trading with the British Navy. He was somehow involved with the British and had maintained his ties with them. The answer is simple, but what about this? Why didn't he trade with the British Navy because he had something to exchange with them?